Welcome everyone. We know that employee appraisal is how organizations measure performance, drive accountability, and support growth. Our system brings this to life using the world's most trusted frameworks, including OKR and the 9Box Grid. In this session, we will walk through the complete 9Box Grid employee appraisal system, covering how to configure a 9Box Grid template with separate performance and potential dimensions and how to create a structured, data-driven appraisal from start to finish. This time, we choose to show a demo template created specifically for Chief Financial Officers, CFOs. The 9Box Grid framework evaluates employees on two independent axes, performance and potential. Performance measures what has been achieved against defined targets, while potential assesses the capacity for growth, leadership, and future contribution. Together, these two dimensions produce a precise grid position, giving HR and leadership a clear, objective view of where each employee stands and where they are headed. Before we begin building our 9Box Grid template, it is important to note that two foundational configurations are already in place from our earlier session. First, the master template has been configured for the services industry with the finance department, with weightages set at 60% department, 30% role, and 10% common. Second, a finance department team, Finance Leadership Team A, has already been created and linked to the relevant department with the appropriate team leader and members. These configurations feed directly into the 9Box Grid template, ensuring that weightage distributions and team allocations are automatically applied. We will now proceed to create the template itself. Now, let us begin by creating a new 9Box Grid template. This template will define all the performance and potential criteria for CFO-level appraisals within our finance department. In this new blank template, you will see a clean header area where we will enter the template name, industry type, department, and company name. We will now fill in the template header. The template name should be descriptive enough to identify the role, industry, and assessment type at a glance. Notice that the industry type and department fields together drive the automated population of the master weightage distribution below.
You can see that.
Let me give the template name CFO Annual Assessment.
This is industry. So
As you can see, once the industry type and department are selected, the system immediately reads the pre-configured weightage settings from the master template and populates the master weightage distribution panel. You can see that the finance department is configured for 60% department, 30% role, and 10% common. These values are read-only here and serve as the foundation for all weight allocation in this template. Now we have a department weight split section. The department weight split is a feature unique to the 9Box Grid template. It allows you to divide the available department weightage, which is 60%, between two distinct assessment dimensions, performance and potential. Performance measures what the employee has actually achieved, results, targets, deliverables, and potential measures their capacity for growth, leadership, adaptability, and strategic impact. The critical rule here is that the performance split plus the potential split must not exceed the total available department weightage. In our case, we will allocate 40% to performance and 20% to potential, which perfectly exhausts our 60% department budget. Role and common weightages remain shared across both performance and potential assessments. Now, let us move to the Performance tab. This tab manages all criteria related to what the CFO has actually accomplished during the appraisal period. At the top of the Performance tab, the weightage distribution panel shows the available budget across three dimensions. The department dimension carries 40%, the role dimension carries 30%, and common 10%. These values flow in automatically from our earlier configurations. Before we can add criteria, we need to allocate this budget to the relevant team, Finance Leadership Team A. This tells the system exactly how much weightage each team is responsible for and enables the criteria tables below to track how that budget is being distributed. So, after selecting the team, I am entering the values I want to distribute here. I have entered 40% for the department weightage and 30% for the role weightage. Notice that the common weightage column is computed automatically. The system distributes the 10% common budget equally among all teams. Since we have only one here, it receives the full 10%. After adding the team, the currently allocated panel at the top will update in real time, confirming that our full budget has been assigned. We will now populate the three performance criteria tables: department, role, and common. Each table draws from the weightage budget we just allocated, and the system tracks how much of that budget has been distributed so far. For a CFO, department performance criteria focus on the financial governance and operational responsibilities of the finance function itself, budgeting, reporting, controls, and cash management. Role performance criteria focus on strategic contributions of the CFO role, strategy review, investor relations, and risk management, and common performance criteria capture cross-functional and organizational contributions. Now, let me just quickly fill up the criteria tables with the relevant data, and after that, we will be back again. So, we have filled up the criteria tables of the Performance tab. With all three performance criteria tables fully populated, the total distributed weightages are 40% for department, 30% for role, and 10% for common, exactly matching our available budget. The Performance tab is now complete. Now, let us switch to the Potential tab. This is where we define the growth dimension of the 9-box grid, the criteria that assess the CFO's capacity for future leadership, strategic impact, and organizational influence. The Potential tab follows an identical structure to the Performance tab but draws from the potential split budget we defined earlier, 20% for department and the same share of 30% for role and 10% for common. Just like before, we begin by adding our team to the weightage distribution table. This establishes the budget for each of the three criteria sections below. Alright, we will now add the three potential criteria tables. Unlike the performance criteria, which are based on quantifiable outcomes, potential criteria are typically assessed using rating scales that capture leadership qualities, behavioral competencies, and future readiness. For a CFO, department potential criteria focus on the ability to scale and evolve the finance function, technology adoption, team succession planning, and innovation in financial modeling. Role potential criteria focus on executive-level capabilities like board influence, M&A readiness, and change leadership. Common potential criteria capture cross-organizational behaviors and continuous learning commitment. Like the performance criteria tables, let me now quickly fill up the criteria tables under this Potential tab as well. So, we are back after completing the criteria tables. The Potential tab is now fully configured. Department criteria total 20%, role criteria total 30%, and common criteria total 10%, all within budget. We have now defined the comprehensive two-dimensional assessment framework for the CFO role with 8 performance criteria and 10 potential criteria, all precisely weighted and mapped to Finance Leadership Team A. So, with all criteria entered and weightages fully distributed across both performance and potential tabs, we are ready to save the template, and I have already saved the template. The system validates all weightage totals and confirms the template is complete. Once saved, the template becomes available for selection when creating appraisals for CFO-level employees in the finance department. So now, as the 9-box grid template is ready, we will use it to create a real employee appraisal. Navigating to the appraisal module first and clicking New, we will be evaluating Mr. Randall Lewis. His job position is the Chief Financial Officer. For the appraisal period ending, we will select December 31st, 2026. So let's start the appraisal fresh. As you can see, we begin by selecting the employee using their badge ID, and the badge ID field provides a quick and precise way to locate the right employee without scrolling through a long list. Once selected, the employee name is automatically populated here. With the employee selected, we are moving to the Assessment Template tab. You will see the system has already detected that John Harrison belongs to Finance Leadership Team A. Now, select the appraisal type. I'm selecting 9-box template. This will make the 9-box template selector appear below. You can see the already selected template because the employee belongs to the Finance Leadership Team A, and only the templates configured for that team will appear in the drop-down. So, we are selecting this CFO Annual Assessment Services Industry template that we made earlier. Now select the evaluation types. These checkboxes determine which dimensions of the criteria, department, role, or common, will be loaded into the appraisal. We will select all three to conduct a full assessment. As everything is configured, I'm clicking the Start Appraisal button. The system will now load all performance and potential criteria from the template, filtered by Finance Leadership Team A, directly into the appraisal record, and a green success banner will appear confirming that the criteria have been loaded. The record will refresh automatically. The appraisal is now live. Scrolling down, we will see the full performance criteria section, department, role, and common, each with their target values, actual values, achievement percentage, and distributed weightages. Below the performance section, the system represents the potential criteria section, following the same structure. At this stage, actual values are set to 0 and will be updated as the appraisal evaluation progresses. The total performance score and potential score progress bars at the top of each section provide a real-time summary, updating instantly as actual values are entered. We will just do it in a few minutes. So, we have entered the actual values as per the target values here, and scrolling further down, we reach the performance summary section. This is where the 9-box grid comes to life. Once actual values are entered and the appraisal is evaluated, this section displays a live, interactive 9-box grid visualization showing the employee's precise position based on their performance and potential scores. You will see the performance score plotted on the horizontal axis and the potential score on the vertical axis. The employee's current grid cell is highlighted along with its label. For example, Growth Gem, Star, Core Player, or any of the other 9 classifications, giving HR and leadership an immediately actionable talent insight. The performance summary also shows 2 donut charts for performance and potential scores individually and horizontal breakdown bars for department, role, and common contributions within each dimension. Additionally, the Generate Spreadsheet button allows evaluators to export all criteria into a structured spreadsheet with actual values editable directly in the sheet and achievement percentages computed automatically using live formulas. This completes the full walkthrough of the 9-box grid employee appraisal system. We began by reviewing the pre-configured master template and team setup for the finance department. We then created a new 9-box grid template, CFO Annual Assessment, defining performance and potential criteria across department, role, and common dimensions with precise weightage allocations for Finance Leadership Team A. This was the team and the template we created before. We applied a department weight split of 40% to performance and 20% to potential and populated 11 performance criteria and 10 potential criteria, all with appropriate metrics, target values, and distributed weightages. Finally, we created an appraisal for Mr. Randall Lewis, the CFO, selected the 9Box grid template, loaded all evaluation criteria in a single click, and reviewed the performance summary, including the 9Box grid position, score gauges, and breakdown charts. The 9Box grid system brings scientific rigor to talent evaluation, separating current performance from future potential, ensuring that every appraisal decision is grounded in transparent data rather than subjective impressions. Thank you for watching.